إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعين به ونستغفره ونستهديه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له، وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء، واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. أما بعد، فإن خير الهدي هدي النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم، وأصدق الحديث كتاب الله، وأحسن الهدي هدي النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم، وشر الأمور محدثاتها، وكل محدثة بدعة، وكل بدعة ضلالة، وكل ضلالة في النار. Umar ibn Abdul Aziz was informed that one of his friends has died. So he immediately rushed to the home of that person, and he saw people who were there crying and in grief. So he said a few words of advice to those who were in that place. He said to them, the person who has died is not your sustainer. Your sustainer is Allah Almighty. The person who had died did not fill the grave of any person but the grave that was assigned for him. And each one of you has a grave assigned for him that he and only him will be occupying that grave. Allah Almighty has created this life and has commanded that this world is going to end. And the people who are on this earth will soon all die. Haven't you seen civilizations before you and communities? They have gathered and yet they all separated. Civilizations that were around and that has disappeared, until Allah Almighty will be the only one on earth, and no one is there in the universe but Allah. So who among you is crying today on the deceased should cry on himself, because what your friend has gone through, you will all be taking the same path as that dead person. In a well-known story that many of you might have heard, at the time and the era of the Prophet Sulaiman alayhi salam, Prophet Sulaiman, Allah had given him supernatural powers, his ability to speak and communicate with beings from different species, and also the command of wind. In his majlis, the place where he was in, that was in Jerusalem, a man approached to him, and he said to him, I have a need. Please command the wind to carry me to India. I want to arrive at that day and that certain hour. So Sayyidina Sulaiman commanded the wind to carry that person. Then showed up the angel of death, smiling at Sayyidina Sulaiman. So Sayyidina Sulaiman was amazed why the angel of death was smiling. He said, what are you smiling from? He said, I was commanded to take the soul of that person at a certain hour in India. Yet when I saw him here sitting with you, and then I noticed that you commanded the wind to take him at that time, at that moment. And exactly is what has happened. The minute that person arrived, Allah had taken his soul based on the commands of Allah. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when Allah Almighty told him in the Quran, وَأَنذِرْ عَشِيرَتَكَ الْأَقْرَبِينَ, warn the people around you and your community. He stood up and he's gathered those around him, and he said, as a leader, I wouldn't lie to you even if the whole community are liars. And as a leader, I wouldn't cheat you. If everybody start saying and cheating each other, by Allah Almighty, I am the Prophet of Allah to you and to the rest of the world. You shall die the same way you go to sleep, and you shall wake up the same way you wake up from your sleep, and you will be judged on your actions, and you were given a reward for your good deeds, and you will be punished for your bad deeds. And definitely it is either a heaven forever or hell forever. Sulaiman ibn Abdul Malik told Abi Hazim, who was a scholar, he told him, why do we hate death? He said, because you destroyed your hereafter and you have built this life that you are in. So therefore, as a human nature, you don't want to move from what is built and created to what has been destroyed. أقول ما تسمعون وأستغفر الله لي ولكم فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن تبعهم بإحسان يوم الدين. عن عائشة رضي الله عنها, she narrated that she heard the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam say, whoever loves meeting Allah, Allah loves to meet him, and whoever hates meeting Allah, Allah hates to meet him. So she said, O Prophet of Allah, is hating death means that we hate meeting Allah? He said, it's not that. He said, a believer, when he dies, the angels come and tell him that he has done well and he has heaven that lies ahead of him, and he is so joyful and happy to meet what is expected from his good deeds. Therefore he cannot wait to meet Allah and to be part of heaven. And yet for a disbeliever, when he is told that he will be tortured by Allah, he does not want to meet Allah, and therefore he will be tortured, and therefore Allah does not want to meet him. Abu Musa al-Ash'ari, the companion of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, as he grew older, his family saw him putting all of his efforts in the last few days of his lifetime, doing as much as he could. So they told him, hold on to yourself, take it easy. Why are you rushing and putting so much effort in yourself? He said, horses in a race, as they reach the finish line, they put all of their efforts to become ahead of everybody else. And as I have lived, and I don't have much of my age left in front of me, I want to put on all of my efforts to make my final finish as the best finish possible. Now, the takeout. This is the assignment for you and me. You have seen others die while we are still alive. And think of it, if a person in a grave was given the opportunity to get out of the grave and pray one rak'ah only, you can feel how much they're desperate to have that opportunity, yet that opportunity has gone. Make sure that from this moment on, you do the assignment, and the assignment is as follows. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ had told us, for a person when he dies, 7 things will continue rewarding him after his death. 1, he left knowledge and science for mankind that is in their benefit. 2, he had dredged a river and diverted a river to help people in an area where they had no water reaching them. 3, he had built a mosque. 4, he had built a well to serve people where they can drink from. 5, he had planted a palm tree. 6, he had printed Qur'ans for people to read. 7, he had raised children where they would pray for him after his death. The assignment, my dear brothers and sisters, for you and me. Now we have seen what you can do after your death, where it can follow you in reward. From this moment onward, you and I have to watch out for these 7 or 8 points that I'm going to read to you. First of all, 5 prayers in Jama'ah in the masjid, especially Salat al-Fajr. 2, Quran, a daily part of the Quran. You should then give it an assignment to yourself. Start with 1 page, but make it continuous. And better yet, as you read that page, make sure that the Quran you read has a tafsir where you could understand the circumstances behind the verses that you read. 3, Dhikrullah, as I mentioned before, Adhkar al-Sabah al-Masa. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ told us the morning supplications and the evening supplications. If you don't know them, you could download them from the internet. Mishar al-Afasi has a wonderful recording of it. You could run it in your car as you go to work in the morning, as you come back in the afternoon. And those of you, you can also, there's an app called Hisnul Muslim in English, Hisnul Muslim on Android and on the iPhone. It has all these prayers in English. You can read and have it an assignment. 4, your companions, your friends, make sure that you select the ones who help raise your level of Iman and your relationship with Allah, and get rid of the ones who deviate you from the path of Allah. 5, supplication dua. As you ask Allah, ask Him wholeheartedly. While you're focusing on the prayer that you say, choose and make sure that every prayer you pray, there is 1 or 2 minutes you open up your heart and ask Allah Almighty to help you in these assignments. 6, Qiyam al-Layl. Once a week, at least once a week, 2 rak'ahs at any time after Isha, just to be and ask Allah. 7, the last one, Siyam. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ used to fast Mondays and Thursdays and the middle of the lunar month, that is the 13th, 14th and the 15th. At least one, either Monday or Thursday a week, at least you can fast in order to put yourself in the focus towards your hereafter. I ask Allah Almighty, in what I've said will be held for us, not against us. And I ask Allah Almighty that we follow the commands of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. And I ask Allah Almighty that to give us the awareness and the sight of those who are deprived from having the ability to pray and read Quran, that as the people of the dead. And by the way, there is a cemetery behind this masjid, if any of you have noticed. Go and see the people there and see how they feel, and put yourself in the grave of these people. Wouldn't he willing to pay everything he owned in this life just to come and pray 2 rak'ahs and ask Allah Almighty? I ask Allah Almighty to bless us all in this Friday, and I ask Allah Almighty to unify Muslims worldwide and to stop the wars among the Muslims and Muslim lands. I ask Allah Almighty to remove the horror and the fear in our people in Syria and everywhere in the world. And I ask Allah Almighty to give us the Quran, the feelings of the Quran, the teachings of the Quran, the inspiration of the Quran, as the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ read it and the companions of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. I ask Allah Azza wa Jal to bless them, our children and our families, and to be followers of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, and to make sure that every minute left of our life is an increased relationship with Allah Almighty. Allahumma ighfir lil-mu'minina wal-mu'minat, al-muslimina wal-muslimat, al-ahya'i minhum wal